I need these vocals going. I guess we could start off by going like, "Welcome, people, bitches,
Of course.
assholes."
Spoiler warning. If you have not
Yeah.
seen the film, go shut this thing off. Go watch the film. 10 out of 10.
Stop
for me.
watching this.
Yeah.
Stop watching it now. Don't come here. This is not for you.
A
You're
spoiler.
about to be
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tony dies.
exactly. Tony's dead. He's gone. He's gone.
But yes, Shikaru. So you have a theory of this.
I have a theory of Tony Stark specifically. So for those of you who have joined in, we are talking about Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
And that is what the spoilers are for. So sorry if you didn't know what we were talking about, and now you know Tony dies. That's your fault. We warned you. You should have just clicked off. But yeah. So at the end of Avengers, Tony's just like, basically, it looks like he sets something up with his own Iron Man suit, like as a fail safe for the Infinity Glove that he created, so would be able to pull it off and make it his own. So I mean, besides the badass part of him being like, I'm Iron Man. Bitch, like,
damn.
It's basically a go fuck yourself to Thanos. Like, and it was awesome watching Thanos just like,
watching everyone
my
die,
whole
and then
army is gone. What the fuck? And then he's like, wait, I'm fading away, Mr. Stark. I don't feel so good. No, but yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool to see that he came up with that backup plan. And I don't know, me thinking of, Tony Stark, Iron Man, he's a freaking genius, and that's pretty much why I think this theory would hold some ground. So I mean, if Tony was smart enough to set that up in his own glove, who's to say that when he snapped his fingers, he didn't keep himself alive? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he died physically, his body dead, gone, bye. All right, but for me, it's more like. So, here's another spoiler. I'm going to get further into this. We basically, at the end of Endgame, there is no end scene, which a lot of fans were pretty upset about. I didn't really care because I found they do have a sound at the end of the video, which is pretty interesting. And the sound sounds like Iron Man working on his original suit.
Yes.
Just smacking away.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that was an end call to like the end of the 20 plus Avengers movies that they made, not Avengers, but Marvel movies to make Avengers. Or if it was actually, a spoiler, a little sparkle at the end of the tunnel saying like he's not gone just yet. Which would be pretty cool. And so here's my theory as to why he might not be gone. So if we go into Endgame, when Tony and what was it, Captain America, they went back in time to the 70s.
Yeah.
And we see Tony meet his dad Howard, and what does he say? His name is Howard Potts. Some stupid shit like that.
He made it up.
But it was first off, just that moment was super amazing. Just seeing Tony be able to meet his father, and his father be like, "There's something familiar about this guy," And it's pretty interesting just to see that. But then one of the coolest things was right after Tony hugs his dad before he leaves. As Howard Stark is walking towards his car, we actually get to see Jarvis for the first time ever in a movie.
It's a little teaser right there.
Because and
what?
We were like, Jarvis? What? The AI AI Jarvis, the Phantom, Tony made him. He was in the last Avengers movie, the one with the robot with the stupid thing in his forehead.
Vision.
Vision, there we go. Yeah, Vision was supposedly made with the AI of Jarvis, but I'm personally wondering if that was like a reincarnation of Jarvis himself, because, excuse me. Oh my God, we might cut that out, we might not, but yeah, sorry. Coca-Cola does that to you. Yep. No, but so we see Jarvis, and then we find out that later on, Tony has developed an AI named Jarvis. Now, I don't know if Tony himself developed Jarvis by himself, or Jarvis was based off of something that Howard made, or if even Jarvis was still around when Tony was a kid. Most likely because he named the system Jarvis. So Jarvis, as the AI computer system, carries a lot of the personality that Jarvis in real life carried. So it becomes a question of, did somehow Howard Stark or Tony Stark manage to transfer the Jarvis's like mind, his consciousness, into this computer so that he can continue living on? Like he's the forever butler of the Stark industry. You know what I mean? Kind of like Wilfred and Batman.
Right.
So with that coming into mind, and just seeing like that back scene of Jarvis being alive, and then since we've been introduced to Iron Man, Jarvis has not been around, besides an AI system, it becomes questionable as to whether Jarvis is Jarvis. You know what I mean? Is the AI Jarvis really Jarvis? And so if it is by chance really Jarvis, then who's to say when Tony snapped his finger and made everything go away, like all the bad guys, that he didn't transfer himself into his AI? Because Jarvis is kind of dead. You know what I mean? You know, since he was transferred into the Vision and stuff, so there would still be a need for an AI system in the Avengers. What would you call it? Their base, their home base, their center, their tower, whatever you want to call it. But so with that idea coming in, because the Infinity Stones, I mean, we're talking, the Infinity Stones can make so much possible. The Infinity Stones could even erase themselves, and it almost cost, you know, Thanos his own life in freaking doing that shit. So I don't know. And then I don't know exactly what happened to the... No, I guess I do know what happened to the gems, because they were going to... Captain America went back and put them all back in the proper time and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this whole thing would work. You know, I feel like it's a pretty interesting theory if Tony would have thought to do that before he died. Because I'm pretty sure he knew he was going to die. Even at the end of the series, of the movie, you're watching a hologram of him going like, "If you're watching this, I'm dead," and his daughter's like,
"Yeah, exactly."
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Very concerned.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's an interesting theory. I think it's possible. You know, maybe Robert Downey Jr. manages to squeeze out one more Iron Man movie before he retires as Iron Man. Which would be freaking awesome, especially if he came in as Jarvis, because in the comic books, Tony Stark does actually die and become Jarvis. Like, he becomes an AI version of Tony Stark. So it's Tony Stark, but in an AI version. And he can actually, like, integrate himself into any Iron Man suit and control it. So he's still Iron Man. He's become an artificial intelligence. So, I mean, I guess for me, the big question is, are we going to go off with the comics and make Tony an AI so that he's forever immortal, or what are we gonna do? Like, Do you think they're heading in that direction? Do you think they're going with something else? Or do you think Tony had gone forever?
Well,
I hope he's not.
Yeah. Well, okay. As film wise and how these films actually work, and when film works the best is when your hero has his own ending. We have watched it in anime, we have watched it in comics and other films other than just the Marvel universe. Is that the most impactful thing is that your hero has its own ending. Just as, Captain America had his own ending because he wanted to.
Yeah.
So as for Tony, Tony has a lot of, ways to be alive, and that is in the comics too, because in the comics there's parallel universe, there's timelines, there's the AI thing, there's a lot of possibilities that Tony Stark will be alive somewhere, and even the AI, just like you mentioned. So
and how many times has Tony been proclaimed freaking dead in the past 10 years?
And survive.
And he always comes back. He's like a slippery dude. So I mean,
it's very hard to just say that the film as the cinematic universe will okay, let's just continue with Tony and appearing in cameos with other type of superheroes like Spider-Man or Black Panther and things like that in bits. Not through the whole movie, but will it be impactful, his death, or will be more impactful that he always gets a mini cameo in these other new movies from Marvel? That is the most weird feelings when you just okay, I just already said goodbye to Tony and the other ones too. And it's that kind of feeling. It's like the death of Jiraiya.
God.
Yeah, it's better to stay dead and not reanimate. Good thing.
I mean, but Jiraiya. I mean, we're talking that's a totally different ballpark. I mean, I feel like if you would have brought Jiraiya back, you'd have a hell of a lot more conflict. Like in the Great Ninja War, especially if Naruto had to kill Jiraiya again.
It would be,
and I don't mean Naruto kill him again. I mean Jiraiya dies again, but this time by Naruto. That would be crazy. Yeah. But that's anime.
Yeah, of course. But when you bring these characters back once they're dead, they're just the more impactful stuff is the death and the ending of a superhero. And
for me, what I think is everyone expects Tony to be alive.
Yeah,
because that's what he does. That he dies, air quotations, and then he's back, and everyone's like, "Where you been?" I don't know. I want a cheeseburger. We're done with this,
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, you got a point there. I mean, I'm reading right now the comic of Spider-Gwen, and she has her universe is parallel universe. It's like these collision between that parallel universe. It's the same timeline, but she's dead
did Gwen try to save Peter and not save him in time and let his head whack against the concrete I don't know, frickin' bouncy ball?
Oh man, let's not bring that up.
Actually, let's bring that up real quick. Let's switch to the topic of Spider-Man while we're here on Endgame, okay?
Yeah.
Because I already gave that Tony theory, and I can't really go too much farther with that without any more research.
Of course.
But Spider-Man, first off, when he showed up again and he was like, Mr. Stark, I was like, Spidey! You're back. He's like, I don't know what happened. I remember that you faded away. Then I didn't remember then. Then I was back, and then Doctor Strange was telling me. I was like, oh my god, bro. I was tearing up. I was like, don't you fucking cry, you motherfucker. I know you lost Spider-Man.
I cried.
But shit, I couldn't help it. But seeing Spider-Man go into insta-kill mode, that was pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things I was confused by with the movie was, okay, so Spider-Man is in high school, right?
Yeah.
And so this whole event started 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly the point. Yeah.
Right? And he was in high school. So here comes the end of the movie, and the Spider-Man's done with everything. It's 5 years later, and he's still in high school. Like,
yep.
What? Did schooling systems cease to exist when Thanos like wiped out half the people? I know governments fell apart, which probably means like some school systems did. But does the 5 years not count for anything? Because it doesn't seem like it. You know, those people who were wiped out and came back, they didn't age 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Tony's over here looking like a goddamn grandpa.
And the rest of them, and Thor being all fat.
Speaking of which, thank God they did that in this movie. Thank God, because
it was funny.
Every freaking Thor movie, they gotta have a no shirt scene, and I get it. You know, girls, they love, and you know, gay men too. I'll put that out there. Gay men too. Yeah. You know, they like to see some eye candy, and that's not a problem. Okay, when I'm watching a movie, I like to see ass. That's great. It's fantastic.
That American ass, right?
Yeah, I mean, American, Latino, whatever you want. I mean, ass is, as long as it's good ass, not flat ass, it's good ass. You know what I'm saying? But the point being, like, I understand eye candy, but it's gotten to the point where I can't really respect Thor because he can't have a single movie without his shirt off.
Yeah.
Right? And no lie, I have so much respect for him now after Endgame, because with his fat belly looking like he was 17 months pregnant and waiting, he still rocked it with no shirt. You're like, how's your eye candy? I liked it. I forget the actor's name that plays Thor, but I know for a fact that he himself was complaining about having to take his shirt off so much in these Thor movies. He's like, I'm supposed to be washing myself up, and you want me to take my shirt off? Because just do it. You know,
I think that body was CGI though.
The what?
His body was CGI. The fat body was CGI.
He had to wear something for it.
Oh, of course.
For the CGI. I mean, you're still walking around with a pouch. It's not him being fat. Yeah. But I feel like it was that actor, like, as soon as we can remember his name.
He really did a really good performance at being a fat superhero.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up this guy's name real quick, because I don't want to like keep saying this guy's name. Somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, you don't know blah blah blah's name?"
Thor.
No, I don't, dude. I don't pay attention to movie actors like that.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, there we go. Chris Hemsworth. You know, Chris gets tired of a lot of this stuff, and to me, it was like, for him, it was a giant joke for all the people who showed up to Endgame to see Thor. Just, I want to see Thor's abs one more time. There he is, drinking a beer. He's got a six-pack, and it's not the type of six-pack you expected. It's like a six-pack of beers been shoved inside his belly. So, dude, it just, to me, was the biggest troll of the whole thing. And the fact that he didn't, like, just zap himself and become skinny or something, that was awesome.
It was natural. This film was about our superheroes being very human and natural.
Yes.
And so realistic, and that's what I love about this film. I mean, in the beginning of the film, Tony Stark looked so like anorexic, man. Like he was really skinny, like man.
Anorexic, arrogant. Because I mean, he's got all that stress of I failed all this, and now I have all this good stuff, but I still want the old stuff back. So, I mean, I could see how that takes a toll on a person, you know, because that is something heavy, and that was the biggest question with the Spider-Man thing. You know, why is he still in high school if Tony Stark kept everything the way it was and just brought those people back after?
Well, some of those, I think his friends were also wiped out, even though probably the half of the school was wiped out by Thanos. They came back, and this is why the second film of Spider-Man is titled Far From Home. So maybe he was like the only one far from home, and then he like, okay, I need an update in school. I need to catch up with my friends because I'm way behind in school, and because who knows if the school were actually closed and never, like, you know, all those 5 years without school, that's weird. But
it's just well, I mean, it's a basic assumption. I mean, they did go as far as to mention in Endgame that you know, there was government collapse, and the government that did exist was trying to do its best to work with what they had, and things were, you know, people just did not know how to handle it. Like, and we saw that very well at the beginning when we saw Captain America hosting a therapy session.
Oh yeah, like I love that part. Like
it was funny, but it was touching too, because you know, it's Captain America. You know what Captain America is gonna say, because you've been watching Captain America for how many years? But this dude who doesn't really know Captain America like that is telling him about, oh yeah, I was having a date. My date started crying. Then I started crying. You know, because it's. You know, these people are so affected that the people that they were married to in a relationship with have just suddenly vanished, and now they got to start all this all over again. You know, and Captain America's just like, just get back on your horse. You know, dude, you know, good job, Captain America. You really pep talk these people. But I also, you know, I also enjoyed the fact that they did allow Cap to go back in that time frame, like when he was supposed to leave all the stones in their timelines. To me, it was just I really liked it that even though they did that, like, he got the chance to stay back in that time period and be able to live out his life. And it was just so funny how he said he did it too. He's just sitting on a bench. Everyone's like, he's not coming back. He's not coming back. They turned there. He's on a bench, old as shit. And he's like, I got one of those lives Tony was telling me to get. And to me, that kind of hit me, because Tony just frickin' died. And I'm like, bro, what? This is... I don't...
Yeah, man.
It was. It also makes me feel like there's still one more Captain America movie. Just because Captain America didn't want to tell. What was it? Not Hawkeye.
The Winter Soldier. Was Hulk in there too, and It's the dude that took the name of Captain America after Captain. Falcon.
Yeah, Falcon. There we go. Yeah. You know, seeing him be able to pass it on. You know, the fact that he passed it on and that he refused to tell Falcon about how he lived his life, maybe leaves room for Marvel to show us exactly what he did, because a final movie like that, seeing, you know, like just pulling into the beginning of the movie, Cap just coming back into that time period and being ready and seeing how he does it, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
They have already set it up for that if they decide to go in that direction. So I mean, there's so much space with what they've already done to add on to more, like give backstories and stuff like that, just to give the fans a little more closure. Because I mean, this was over a decade long, project.
Yeah.
Between all these. Yeah.
Freaking 8, man. Like.
So 11 years.
Yeah.
And to invest that much time, you've got kids who have been watching this since they were 10, and now they're 20, 21.
Yeah.
And it's over. It kind of just reminds me of like me when I was into Naruto so heavy. I was waiting for those new weekly mangas, and when we finally hit that last chapter, how old was I? Like 22, 23? I was devastated.
Yeah,
Thought it was going to go on forever.
Yeah.
And but so the fans that do feel that way, I mean, it would be nice. It would be pretty cool if they did come in with some extra features like that, going into Captain America's background. Figuring out if Tony did transfer himself to an AI, figuring out whether Spider-Man, or the school system just glitched for 5 years, and what he does from that point on. Because I mean, we can also see that Stark plays a very influential role on Peter Parker, because in the last Avengers movie, he spent some time thinking some of the stuff Tony was doing was a trick when it wasn't. They kind of built that father-son vibe.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect it to take off as well as it did. Like, I didn't expect myself to feel as attached to Tony and Peter Parker as what they were in these movies. But I found myself really attached really fast, and I raged in the last movie. I left the theater yelling when it just ended everything in the middle. Peter Parker's dead. They're stuck in the middle of fucking nowhere. Half the fucking world is gone, and I'm like, this is how you left this movie? This is how you fucking left this shit? What is wrong with you guys? But the second half, Endgame, they really did come in, and they, like you said, they portrayed so many characters in such a personal way to see that how the past 5 years affected them personally.
Yes.
And how much pain they went through, and just still having to go through the regular everyday life. They did a very good they did a very good job portraying that, and it just, like, the movie shows that they really took their time to develop everything and pull it all together into like this weave. Like it was like two blankets, you have this and that, and then this movie just made sure that those two pieces fit very nicely. And I've seen plenty of movies where they do this type of stunt and they leave us hanging, and then in the next movie it's so booty we give up on the whole series.
Holy shit,
and they definitely ended out this series of movies very well.
Yes.
So I don't know. I really look forward to what they're gonna do with the next.
Oh yes, with the next new Avengers, the next arc. Because this was the Infinity arc. It ends right here, and then we're starting a new one, which is something fresh, which is good.
And we got some possibilities here, like Hawkeye's daughter could turn out to be the new Hawkeye.
And 3000.
3000.
Yeah.
Hawkeye 3000.
No, the Tony Stark's daughter.
Oh.
Yeah. That was touching, though.
Yeah, I like that end scene. I like that end scene. That was a callback. And that's for those of you who are wondering what we're talking about when we're saying callbacks. A callback is a scene in the movie where they use a line or a gesture that they have previously used in a different movie to tribute to that movie. So, for example, Tony's daughter, her name is Morgan, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Which, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, in the last Avengers movie, or maybe it was the other Iron Man movie, when Tony was talking to Pepper Potts, he was mentioning that he had a dream about a kid, and it was his kid, and that the kid's name was Morgan. So they even followed that through into the span of this movie, which was generally pretty interesting because that builds another theory that maybe Tony just went back to that period where he knew. Which could be cool.
Oh yes.
But and that's why it came to him as a dream or whatever. But oh man, I'm losing my train of thought here. This is a lot of topic to cover.
This happens when.
Yeah, I remember. So like after Tony dies, Morgan, Tony's daughter, she's probably like 5-6 years old at this point. She's sitting down with Tony's butler, that fat dude who thinks he can fight and all this.
He can't.
He can't. Black Widow makes him look like a puss. But he's sitting there and he's heartbroken too because him and Tony, they were best friends. So he's asking Tony's kid like, "Hey, are you okay?" And she's like, "No, I'm not okay." And he's like, "You hungry?" "Yeah, I'm hungry." "What you hungry for?" A cheeseburger. That's a callback. That's a different character, Morgan, but she's using her dad's callback. I want a cheeseburger. It's when Iron Man came straight from Afghanistan or somewhere in the first movie, and as soon as he got off the plane, all he wanted was a cheeseburger. Anybody could say anything to him. He's like, "Nope, cheeseburger. You take me to a cheeseburger. I've been gone for 3 months. I want a cheeseburger." And it was just so awesome to see Tony's assistant just be like, "Yeah, we'll get as many cheeseburgers as you want. That was your dad's favorite food." So just to be able to see that Morgan might be carrying some of Tony's personality, just like Tony carried on some of Howard's, which was super funny in itself, seeing Howard be like, "I hope my kid doesn't end up like me," and Tony's right in front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony's like, "If only you knew, bitch." Like, fuck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but yeah, these callbacks that they use, just like Iron Man pulling the "I am Iron Man," snapping his finger, Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Professor Hulk. He had some of the weirdest callbacks. I wouldn't even call them callbacks, really. Because there's a scene where they all went back in time. And they end up in 2012, back in New York. Yeah. And at this point, Banner has controlled the Hulk. And they are one. They are together. Yeah. They are not dating,
of course, but, it's a really good bonding there.
Yeah, they have a good bond between them now. Now it's not Hulk raging. He can tap into that and be that all the time. Yeah. So they travel back in time, and Banner sees Hulk just viciously smashing stuff and stomping on the ground.
that part was funny, man.
Yeah, and then I forget who says it, but someone looks at him and goes, "Go Hulk out," and he's like, "Yeah, I can still do that."
Takes his shirt off,
he takes his shirt off and just starts tossing shit. I'm like, what the hell? You're not even trying.
There's the wimpy Hulk, like the Professor Hulk, man. Like, man.
Yeah. But it was so cool to see this chick from the Doctor Strange movie just soul tap him out of Hulk.
Oh yeah, that was damn.
I was like, oh, really? She's oh man.
Yeah.
But it is super awesome to think that Doctor Strange saw this whole reality and he knew that Star-Lord was gonna smack Thanos across the face or punch him in vain and fuck up everything.
Yep.
So
freaking Star-Lord.
to think that this was the solution, that Doctor Strange knew he was going to be erased and knew that his only hope was that Tony Stark would have actually spent his time manipulating, algorithms and such to figure out time travel.
Yeah.
And it's really a unique movie that really does captivate its viewers. Yeah. And if you've been watching this for as long as we have, which is again back since 2008, the first Iron Man movie.
Yeah.
This is something that has built an attachment to you, especially if you spent every year going to these movies, to the new releases. There are characters, whether you like them or not. If you're a Black Panther fan, hey, Black Panther shows up. All of Wakanda shows up to that bitch. Bro, that was freaking crazy. It truly turns into a Marvel Universe versus Thanos and his army situation, and it's completely amazing to watch. It really blows you away. If you think you're gonna have trouble not peeing while you're in your seat, trust me, you have an hour and 30 minutes to go to the bathroom. Most of the first half is sentimental stuff.
Yeah.
Watching the Avengers go through what they're going through and coming up with the plan. So you do have time to go to the bathroom, but where you really want to stay seated would be, that halfway mark. If you decided you wanted to listen to spoilers and you click this, well, I'll at least give you the point frame in which you want to pay attention so that you can have an empty bladder and actually be able to enjoy the cinematic, artistic styles that they've presented to us, and they've done it so beautifully and taken their time with it.
Yes.
It's truly, this movie truly is a masterpiece.
It's wow. Look, man, Infinity War was about Thanos. Endgame was our heroes from all these years.
Yeah.
This is, wow, it's just amazing just to think of it, that this movie was, Thanos was barely in the movie. Let's just say it like that.
Yeah.
He was barely in the movie. And
no, the scenes in the movie, first time you see Thanos, he gets his head chopped off. Congratulations.
He aimed for the head this time.
Yeah.
So, what else? So yeah, Thanos is out of the picture for a long time. They go back in time. Thanos has a daughter, of course, Nebula, and Nebula has this type of R2D2 thing that her memories were colliding with her current past and future Nebula by that timeline.
Yeah. So basically, it's Nebula. Kind of, her brain is like a server.
Yeah.
And so when those two servers exist on the same time field or the same time space at this, they get cross-wired. It's like buying two sets of walkie-talkies that are the same exact brand, leaving them on the same frequency and expecting not to hear each other. That's pretty much how that situation turned out. That's totally kind of how Thanos figured everything out, which is kind of a bummer. I was getting really agitated as Thanos was figuring things out.
Yeah, it was like using Nebula, like, I want to see everything. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, like, and he saw himself died.
But to see future Nebula, save what's her name? Save her sister.
Gamora.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. That was something really touching to see, and it was really awesome to see Star-Lord get his balls fucking kicked. fucking piece of
yeah,
crap.
he's a freaking shit, man.
Yeah, I'm like, what? I'm gonna put this out here real quick. Since we're here, Star-Lord is so crap, right? They gave him his own uniform in Fortnite, so that you could separate the shit new player. I'm sorry if you like Fortnite and you have that skin, but I'm not. How dare you like Star-Lord?
There's another thing that at the end of this film, Thor joins the Guardians of the Galaxy, which that's another opening right there. So
yes, it is.
We're gonna have more Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy together too. So that's gonna be epic, just pure epicness right there. Man, this film opens so much. It's an ending, but it opens so much. And
they left a lot of doors.
Yes, they did. They freaking did. It's just I so love this universe, man. It's just it has an ending, but it's just never ending.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, I'm a big DC fan. And I honestly love DC and I love Marvel, but I'm a bigger DC fan than I am Marvel. But there's some Marvel characters that take the cake and really put up the fight against DC, and some of those characters are like Iron Man, Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
I can't really think of anybody. Maybe Wolverine.
Oh yeah.
I would have loved to see Logan show up in this movie.
Oh yeah, but
that would have been awesome.
Yeah, but I think they're teasing it a little bit more. The future movies, because I know that Disney right now owns Fox, so this is another opening, so we might have an X-Men cross.
They better cross Logan with Deadpool. That's
I'm
doing
desperately to see that, man. Desperately.
Yeah, I don't feel like this Marvel thing is gonna be set in stone until Deadpool and Wolvie get their limelight together. They're really the biggest, most hilarious combo of super seriousness and the most inappropriateness.
Totally.
But yeah,
it's. I mean, do you think this is an Oscar-worthy film? Like, for me, it is. For me, it is.
That's not even a question. The Oscars should already have their shit printed. They it should just be set at this point. You don't need to ask questions. You don't need to ask the people. Just do it, and they deserve it. They did very good.
Performance. Oh my gosh.
And it was seriously, even the credits when they first rolled were super nice. Just getting to see these pictures or these graphics of our superheroes. The main cast of the Avengers.
The Avengers. Yeah.
And these pictures that we have never seen them posing in before, and with their names being signed over it, live action signature. It adds just that just that extra personal feel to like each person who watched it. Like, I signed this for you.
Yes.
Wow,
it's.
But
it's
Oscars.
It's.
If they don't get an Oscar.
Oh man. Yeah, we're gonna be. I'm gonna be really pissed off because
it's gonna be an issue. Like, there's gotta. It definitely better be like a blow out of the water other movie that totally trashed Endgame and made us go, Endgame? What? Like, if it doesn't do that, I don't see any other movie.
It is so complicated to make a script with so many characters, and for them to have a spotlight, very good spotlight, their very own dialogue and their own chemistry in one single movie. Plus, this is actually a Back to the Future thing, which they play with time. You know how hard it is to just like play with that in a movie, you don't know how many plot holes that thing, traveling in time might be, or might get into a freaking movie.
I mean, and we already got a couple. We did get a couple of plot holes in this movie. You know, like for example, that 5-year gap, and then suddenly people have been out of school for 5 years, they're still going to school. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense since they haven't aged. But I mean, my question is, with the government have being wiped out and shit for 5 years, or being at a very minuscule scale, I don't know. It's just that the bigger question is, how much did Tony restore? You know,
exactly.
Because we did not get anything. We didn't hear him say, "I'm gonna restore everybody." He said nothing verbal besides, "I'm Iron Man." You know, because first off, he was done with Thanos' ass. He was like,
he got beat up. I mean, we barely talk about the epic battle at the end. It's how good this movie is, building up in the beginning with these dialogues, these slow moments, these character development, these amazingness in the beginning. The time traveling was top notch, but the final battle was like,
it reminded me of Capture the Flag. No lie. Just seeing Thanos chase down that glove as hard as he did, and fight as hard as he did, just to get hit over and over and over and over and over and over and over, fuck again. And then right as he's about to, he finally gets the glove on, oh dude, I was so angry. I was so pissed off. I was like, hell no! Yeah, I was like, hell no! But Captain Marvel did avoid the snap though. She's like, you ain't snapping. If I can't take it off, I will hold your hand open.
And Thanos like headbutted her, but didn't work. Like damn, like.
And it was also a cool thing to see. You know, as much as I hate Thanos in the comic books and in the movie,
even in Fortnite,
he is a very, very skilled fighter. You know, this wasn't just some big dude who just happened to be big and decided, oh, I want to take over the world. No, he was like a dictator, galactic ruler. He would come in and he'd wipe it out himself. He was a lord of war.
Yeah.
And you can see that in this fight. You know, he's sitting there wielding a dual-wield berserk sword.
Yeah.
No problem. And it's, you know, you can see his physical strength, his physical prowess, how much he really wants this.
Yes.
And it's to die for. I can't really, to explain everything that happens in this fighting scene.
A lot. Even the Hawkeye and the Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow that part was like, they both wanted to die and sacrifice, but man, part, man.
Also, that reminds me, talking about the Black Widow, how they were fighting for that sacrifice thing.
Yeah, dude, man.
Another question to me was, when Tony snapped his finger, like, is the Widow back? Is she stuck there?
She ain't coming back, because I think he brought back what Thanos erased. So I think
that's true, but he again, like, that's where the key thing is for me. Like, he never spoke. You know,
yes, of course,
the Infinity Stones know what you're thinking and are going to produce what you want.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's questionable.
It's questionable, yeah.
Because if the Widow's back, there's a possibility that the Vision is back. But these are questions that, I feel like you have a point where, they died where it wasn't by the cause of the Infinity Stones, but the Infinity Stones can make anything reality.
Reality, yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of play to have in that itself.
I mean, Black Widow has they're making her own movie, so maybe it's a sequel or maybe it's a prequel. So we do not know yet if this is gonna be a direct sequel for this character. I wish it's a sequel, and let's see if Iron Man did actually wish that kind of bringing these people back, the people that he loved and people that he know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of questions and wide open, because this expands another new universe in so many ways that, damn, like, man, even Hawkeye was so freaking cool in this movie. He had this freaking sword, man. Like, oh my god, like.
Yeah, Hawkeye. You know, Hawkeye's trash. First,
yeah, of course, but
but you know, to see him wielding a sword and.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, props. Yeah, that's pretty cool. He just jumped off a building and he just sliced this fucker like it was nothing. So.
He lost his. That's the first thing that we see in the movie. He lost his whole family. Wiped out.
It's like, just go ahead, just shoot that. Oh yeah, good job, Hawkeye. Turns around.
Nothing there.
Okay. Well, let me just talk to my daughter real quick. Oh my God! Like, you know, me personally, I felt that. I felt it. I was like, that's kind of one of my biggest fears in life. You know, what if suddenly I'm somewhere very public, and then I'm just the only one there out of nowhere? What do you
weird.
do?
I will freak out, dude. If the rapture comes like that way, I will freak the hell out, man. Like.
Yeah, because I mean, and you can see, like, this affected him so hard in the beginning. He lost complete faith. He wasn't exactly a good guy when they found him.
He became a freaking assassin. Like, he started killing Japanese people. Like,
because he's just like, I want to die. When someone's gonna kill me, they're gonna be in Japan. So.
Well, that's a fact.
Yeah. I mean, aliens came down to Earth and Hawkeye didn't die. I mean, that's a feat in itself. I mean, did he spend most of his time on a building shooting at people randomly? I mean, yeah, absolutely. Was he spot on? Yeah, he's Hawkeye. I mean,
another one.
Hawkeye, nothing could be behind Hawkeye's back, and he could shoot an arrow backwards and fucking hit a fly. You know, it.
Yeah, it's totally true. It's
Yeah, I think there was even a scene in one of the movies Hawkeye was in the Avengers where he was literally aiming his like arrow up and there was nothing there and he shot and something flew right over him and took the shot. I was like, bro.
Yeah.
He got it.
Another thing was that Loki, I think he's still alive.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Because they fucked up the past.
Yeah, that timeline though. That timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's still out there. So we might have a spin-off of Loki.
Oh, it's possible that it's still out there. It might not. He might not be alive. I'm gonna leave that to a 50-50. Here's my theory, okay? So, first, Cap and Tony go to 2012, right? And they're gonna grab the thing,
that
right?
Was with Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
Was it with Ant-Man?
Yeah. That mission to get that stone was with Ant-Man. Yeah. Where Hulk had to take the stairs.
Yes.
And the Hulk fucked them over.
Yeah. With that one, my question is, that was there at that time. So my question is, no, I guess everything still does happen in the proper order because when they went back, nothing
changed.
Really changed.
Yeah.
But I guess my question would have been, since they went back in time twice, like they hit that initial and then they went again, to the 70s, because that was the only way they were going to fix it. They had to go further back in time. Yeah. So my question is, did the location of that? No, it didn't, because they put all the stones back. Never mind.
Yeah.
yeah, so then it is a good question, but my question is, since they moved it, did that initial attempt when they went back in time the first time, did that still happen, or did it not? You know?
I think it totally divides what it actually was, because this is like a type of Dragon Ball Z thing where
and Loki was quick with that.
He didn't even he didn't
was like,
waste time. Like, okay, let me get out of here.
Bye.
So yeah,
he just Thanos his way out of there.
A possibility that we have a Loki movie. So, I mean, I like Loki. He's funny. I like the character itself. It's just very freaking good. So
yeah. I'll go with one more thing that was pretty interesting in the movie. I would have to say Thor going back to dang, I forgot his hometown name.
Asgard.
Asgard, there we go. Seeing Thor go back in time to Asgard and then coming across his mother.
Oh man.
And his mother knowing that that's not current Thor, and that's future Thor, and that Thor needs some help.
Yeah.
And talking to him the way she did, you know, and to me it looked like the whole conversation, because Thor was like, it seemed like Thor was trying to tell his mom, like, today you're gonna die, you know, and he just wanted to do anything to prevent it, because that's how much his mother meant to him.
Yeah.
But his mother's basically saying, like, you know, I'm a witch, you know, I know what things are, and I know what's gonna happen to me now is supposed to happen. Whatever it is, and I know you're here because you need something, because of something that needs to happen. So, and just to see that the mother talked to him with such conviction, regardless of whether she's going to die or not, and just having it seem like she did know she was going to die anyway.
Yes.
Just to see that she took that time and put it forward, even though knowing those are her last minutes, hours, whatever, that to me was something very sentimental, you know, because that's something I feel like a lot of guys can relate to when it comes down to like their mothers, you know. As big and tough as we are, you know, mom comes around, you're a little softer. Yeah. You're a little nicer. You might argue with your mom, you might not like her all the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes moms give you the words that you need, and she did that right there for Thor, and it was exactly what Thor needed to get off his ass and just get moving. And so
eat your salad.
Yeah, eat your salad. Like that was funny. Like that good. You're fat. You know.
He was with Rocket, and like that part when Rocket like slapping me, like, man, like.
Oh yeah.
Like, you need to snap out of it, and like, are you crying? No.
Yeah, I'm not crying.
Not crying. Man, this movie has so funny moments, so emotional moments, epic moments.
If you want to see
everything, man. Like,
if you want to see Thor complain about cable, go watch Endgame. If you want to see, what's his name? Star-Lord get kicked in the nuts, go watch Endgame.
Yeah, go watch Endgame.
If you were pissed because Spidey died, go watch Endgame.
Yep. If you want to see Captain America holding Thor's hammer,
bro, go watch Endgame.
Yes, go watch Endgame.
And that was so awesome because Thor was just like, I knew it.
Yeah. I think it was the second movies of Avengers that he kind of like lifted up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember
that. He was trying to get it off the table, and he was the only one who wedged it, and Thor was like, huh? And to me it was funnier just like watching them fight together, one hammer, one axe, and then Captain catches the axe, and Thor's like, you take this one, it's smaller.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was so perfect. Wow.
It's like Thor's like, I'll definitely let you carry my hammer, but this is like my Stormbreaker X. I had to go through a lot of shit for this. Give me my Stormbreaker X back.
Like, oh yeah, I do remember.
Stormbreaker, Stormbringer. I could be saying it the wrong way. My apologies. But
wow.
But yeah, there's so much comedy. Everything's presented in such a beautiful way. You know, it was like fan service, but not fan service.
It needed to be what it needed to be.
Exactly.
Period. It has to be that way, or it was not good.
Or it's not happening.
Exactly the point. Yes. Wow.
But yeah.
We could be talking about this all night, but yeah.
We could. I think we're gonna call it.
Yeah, we're gonna call it a night.
We're gonna thank everybody who took their time to watch this.
Yes.
And thanks for sitting down on this hour-long conversation. If that's how long you stuck around.
Yes.
And maybe we have some more podcasts on some other Marvel stuff or DC. We'll see what happens.
Yes.
But for now, this is Bad Chick, and I am out for the day. And I'm gonna leave you with your host, Abel, to close this out.
All right, people. Please don't forget to favorite, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for supporting the channel. This has been Zyberpunky.
This is Bad Chick. Leave a comment in the section below.
And we'll see you guys later.
Yeah.